Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday, the third day of December 2025. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders trying their best to save human lives every day. Those also pick up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover victims of pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that cause these industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night in Boston, Massachusetts. The New York Knicks lost to the Boston Celtics 123-117. And as usual, there's usually the jump off the bridge type of so-called fans that trip out after every Knicks loss, acting as if they're supposed to go 82-0. But this was going to be a tough game. There's a couple of opponents that the Knicks play that you just really throw out the records, and it's going to be a war. Boston, Philly, Miami, and increasingly Detroit and Orlando, but definitely Boston, Philly, and Miami. These rivalries go back decades, literally. And so you can throw out the records when these teams play because there's going to be playoff atmosphere, physicality, and all that. Boston, though, was dangerous coming in, having won 7 of the last 10, and during the course of that, having beaten Detroit and Orlando and Cleveland. So even though they were or still are not, along the top of the East, they were still dangerous. The New York Knicks played a bad game, and there was a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Starting again with Jalen Brunson. Now we have to understand the Knicks are only going to go as far as Jalen Brunson can take us because he's the head of the snake. Okay. Now yesterday he had a terrible game. He played 39 minutes. He scored 15 points. He was 6 of 21, 1 of 8 from the 3-point line. He had 11 assists, and he had 3 turnovers, but he played a horrible game, and it's on both sides of the floor. Coach Brown made some bad decisions. Having Tyler Kolek was in the game 15 minutes, and he was minus 23. Now, I'm not trying to say Kolek's a bad player. I'm on board with Kolek. But when you're sucking up the joint, when you stink, sit. So he kept them in there. And it was during the Kolek, Robinson, Clarkson, Yabu minutes that Boston made that second quarter run, which the Knicks never recovered from. The Knicks played tremendous in the first quarter. The starters were great. But then Brown started subbing in, and Kolek couldn't guard a shadow. Jordan, Clarkson, they just really, Kolek's minus 23, Clarkson minus 10, Mitchell Robinson minus 14. They were just bad. Okay. And so it didn't work out, and it is what it is. And the thing is, many fans act as if the Knicks are supposed to play games and never make mistakes. This is stupid. These are human beings. They're not the same every day, okay? The better teams have more good days than bad days, but every team in the 82-game season has bad nights. Every team, okay? Otherwise, they would have already been, there's been many tremendously talented, great teams. They already been an 82-0 team, but there never was because every team has bad nights. And in the league, any team can beat any other team again on any given night. This is the league. So the Knicks did not play well. Karl-Anthony Towns spent too much time. When he started arguing with the refs, I knew we were going to have a problem. Okay? And then if you saw the last foul that he had, he stuck his foot out. I think it was on Jaylen Brown. I can't remember who it was on, but he stuck his foot out because he was mad. See what I mean? He's a bully. And when he doesn't get his way, he starts committing stupid fouls because he didn't get his way. Okay? A lot of point blank shots. He's 7 feet tall. When he jumps even a little bit, he's rim level or higher. And he was missing layups. Okay? So it was just a bad game. Now, on the other hand, too, you see Mikal Bridges, 8 3-pointers. Deuce McBride, 3 of 5. In a situation where Brown's offense is predicated on finding the hot man and the open man, like the Walt Clyde Frazier Knicks did when they won championships, you would have expected them to ride Deuce and Mikal during this game, but they didn't. Mikal did get 17 shots. Deuce only shot 6. And part of the reason was, aside from them not looking for him, he had to spend all his energy. Deuce played 36 minutes. He was plus 14. He was spending most of his energy trying to make up for the defensive deficiencies of Brunson, who the Celtics were intelligently targeting. Okay, I don't know how many, I lost count of all the missed assignments Brunson did defensively. And then getting suckered to get put on the block against somebody he can't guard, and then letting them score instead of holding them. At least Kolek, on a couple of occasions, when he got caught underneath the basket and knew he could go, he grabbed that person, pulled them away, made sure they wasn't going to score. That's what you do. Brunson did on several occasions. So this was a terrible game. The Knicks, and in spite of it, the Knicks outscored the Celtics 41-29 in the fourth quarter and was still pushing in the game. This is what I like about having Jalen Brunson. He's not going to give up just because he sucked that night. He's going to still try to beat you all the way to the last buzzer. It wasn't really until there was less than, I would say, 40 seconds left that the game was really decided officially. But he was trying all the way to the end. So it was a learning experience. Again, you hope that guys like a Brunson and guys like, Brown would learn from games like this. Now, I give Brown a little bit more slack than Brunson. Brunson should know better. You can't be taking on no team by yourself. This is the league. They use that against you. They've done it before. We've seen it before. He's seen this movie a lot. He should learn from that. But Brown, what I saw with that second unit with Kolek, Clarkson, and Robinson, he even, I think he put Diawara in the game for a split couple of seconds. And then Yabu. What I saw there was, okay, he's showing that he's going to put his confidence in these guys. That's important for them, especially, your Koleks of the world. Young dudes that's just coming up, that's trying to cut their teeth and get, establish themselves in the league. You want to show you got confidence in him, even if he is sucking that night. And you want to set him up so that when it's time for the playoffs, he's developed. He's developed, the confidence is developed, the skill levels developed, the awareness is developed, and the toughness is developed. And so all of that takes time. So in terms of being prepared for April and May, I understood why it was frustrating to watch it. Really was tough to watch it. But I understood why he was doing it. He's looking at this as 1 in 82. One game in 82, national televised game. It's a good game to get a guy like Kolek out there, let him get his ass handed to him, and then let him learn from that. Okay? And have him be ready. And the good thing is, games tonight. You got to be ready tonight. As Tibbs used to say, games keep coming. So games tonight. So you learn from last night, lick your wounds, you come back out here tonight and be ready to play. So that part I get, okay? You got to learn. You got to let the guys mess up a little bit and let them get, this is what development is. This is why a lot of y'all whining for young players' development during Tibbs were stupid, in my opinion, because you can't just let people out there to lose games for you, okay? Because that's what they're going to do. Part of development is losing games. Okay, that's how you develop. You see Cade Cunningham? You see how Detroit is playing now? If you looked at Cade Cunningham 3 years ago, they were winning like 20 games. They weren't winning anything. They were struggling. They were turning the ball over. But that's how you develop. Now, What you prefer is to have that happen in the G League. That's what Tibbs would do. He would have them developing in the G League, have guys like Dice working with them in the G League, and then slowly over the course of 2 or 3 seasons, put them in like he did with Deuce. But Brown doesn't exactly do that. Brown put Kolek in now, and he's, and that's fine. It's 1 of 82. They lost that one. Okay? We move on. And I guess what I'm saying is if Brown had Tibbs' attitude of winning at all costs, Kolek would have been in there for maybe 5 minutes and wouldn't seen the court again. Okay? But Brown is different. And I think later on, as we get to playoff time, we'll be glad of that because Kolek will be more ready at that time. He'll be more ready. But Brunson has got to learn that he's got teammates. He kept pressing and missing. Now, he was missing shots he would normally hit. I give him that. But once you see that happening and it's costing you a possession, pass the freaking ball. Mikal couldn't miss. Deuce couldn't miss. Pass the freaking ball. Okay? Even Josh Hart. Josh Hart shot the ball very well. He was 4 of 7 from 3. That's more than 50%. He was 7 of 11 from the field. You got to give these cats the ball. And stop trying to score all the time if you're not hitting. But that's on him. See, I give more blame to Brunson because you know why? He's smart. He's a warrior. He wants to win. And he knows better. He knows better. So he's going to make mistakes like this. And this was one of them. Okay? So I give the Celtics credit. They played the way they needed to play to win this game. But I would say it's just as equal that the Knicks beat themselves. Between, like I said, bad coaching and decisions, ball hogging, and then mismatch. Again, I did not understand why Coach Brown had assigned Josh Hart to guard Cater. And the Celtics rightly exploited that. Had Cater dunking on Brown, like it was nobody's business. I didn't understand that. You got away with something when you put Hart on Giannis because Giannis wasn't trying to bully ball. Like Cater can't score from the outside. So Cater was pick and roll all night. Okay, he only had 8 points, but it was ridiculous, and he opened up the floor on the roll now because now you had to guard. I didn't think that was a good choice to have Hart try to guard Cater. I didn't think that was a good choice at all. You should have had Hart on Derek White or Brown. Look, Pritchard was 4 of 13, 1 of 7 from 3. He scored 10 points, and he was forcing it. And the only time he scored, it was when the Deuce card wasn't on him. Because when Deuce was on him, it was like I was watching the game, and it reminded me of Revis Island. Revis Island on the Jets. That side of the floor was off. You forget it. So basically, Deuce took Pritchard out the game, and so the Knicks had to guard Brown, Derek White, Walsh, the rest of them, and they failed at that. Okay, now Mikal was playing both sides of the ball very well, him and Deuce. But you only got them two. You can't have, somebody's got to guard Brown, somebody's got to guard White, somebody's got to guard all the rest of them. Okay, and they failed last night. It's simple as that. So they got a game tonight, second night of back-to-back. They were in Boston. It's not a long trip to New York from Boston, especially for pro players getting the cushiest rides, whether it's private jet or bus or whatever it is. They're going to be good. It's not like coming from the West Coast back to New York, or Texas. They're coming from Boston. So they got a back-to-back tonight, but it shouldn't be that bad. They should be ready to play. I don't want to, guess what I'm saying is I don't want to hear no lack of energy because you played last night. Come to play. Okay? They got to come to play today. This is the league. Everybody goes through it. You got to come to play. I'm a little concerned about Deuce because he played 36 minutes last night. Really, I advocate for Deuce to start once OG gets back. Even though I understand if they start Josh Hart. I understand. I'm not going to be whining about that. But the reason I advocate for Deuce to start is because he plays better defense. And he still scores. Okay. And if you put last night, Josh was not playing his best defensive game. He was -1, and he had 3 fouls. It wasn't his best defensive game. He was shooting very well, obviously, but it wasn't his best game defensively last night. Deuce is constant. He's a constant on the defensive end of the floor. Okay, so when you get him shooting 3 threes and shooting 60% from the 3-point line, plus the defense, that's hard to do. And in fact, Josh Hart once was interviewed on him and Brunson's roommate show, and he was talking about the admiration he had for Brandon Ingram because he noticed that Brandon Ingram plays both sides of the ball, and when Brandon Ingram was out and when Josh was in New Orleans, they had him playing Brandon Ingram's spot, and he's recognized how difficult it is to be a high-level defender and a scorer. Takes a lot of energy. It's very difficult to do. This is the toughest league in the world. And so usually when you talk about role players, they specialize. See, so you will get, for example, you will get a Karl Anthony Towns. He's specialized on the offensive end of the floor. Okay. OG is a two-way player. He was a defensive specialist. But since he's come to New York now, he can play both sides. That takes a lot of energy. And then your great players, historically, your Kobe's, your LeBrons, your Jordans, they play at the top level on both sides of the ball every single night. That's why you got to recognize that. Most people don't. They have hatred because of whatever social media, whatever stupidness it is. But as a ball, if somebody's a true ball fan of pro ball, you recognize how difficult it is. Role players play a role. So they may let's take TJ McConnell, who I think Kolek is coming to be the next TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell doesn't play 35 minutes a night. He's coming off the bench, and he's going to play both sides of the ball, and he had to learn to do that, but it's a limited time, right? So you're gonna get diminishing returns if you expect him to do that for a longer period of time on the floor. Then you got other guys that are specialties as shooters, right? Guys that can come in and shoot the lights out, but they're not really playing a lot of defense, but they're not there for that. They're there to shoot the rock, okay? Or a Jordan Clarkson, who's there to give you instant offense off the bench. He's not really there to play defense, but he has been trying his best to play some defense, but he's there to score off the bench. Now, last night he only had 4 points, 1 of 5, he couldn't score. Okay, and you got to give the credit to the Celtics. They were locking him up. It wasn't like he was getting shots and missing. They were up in his ass. Okay, so that happens. This is the league. So that's what happened with him. But that's his specialty. He's supposed to come off the bench and score. Okay? Is what it is. But all the role players have roles, which are really specialties in what they do best. Okay? But to play two-way takes a lot of energy. So with Deuce, last night, if you notice, he was standing in the corner a lot. They weren't looking for him, but he wasn't aggressively trying to get the ball either. He wasn't being aggressive because he was spending all his energy trying to play defense. Okay? And I'm a little concerned because he got to do that again tonight. Now, Charlotte is, again, a trap game situation. Charlotte is a trap game situation because here, now, LaMelo Ball, the dude gets hurt a lot. Both the Ball brothers that are in the league are Anthony Ambulance University participants. There's no doubt about it. I think we'd be lying if we just said otherwise. But if you put LaMelo Ball on Madison Square Garden's floor, he's going to go off. He lives for that. Okay? Now, he's listed as probable. No. Actually, let me look at Ball. Yeah, he's probable. He's like, it's Madison Square Garden. If he could walk, he's going to play. And if he's going to play, he's going to show out. So you got to be ready. This is where Deuce comes in. Okay? Or McCall, whichever one. You got to have them ready. Now, Brandon Miller is out. Trey Mann is out. Connaughton been out. Grant Williams been out. Josh Green has been out. These guys been out for a minute. But the big one is Ball's going to play. And of course, Miles Bridges also. He's another very explosive offensive player, not the greatest defensive player. And again, it's Madison Square Garden. So Miles Bridges, the rookie boy, Canupo, whatever, he got locked up the last time the Knicks played them. He got on lockdown. He's going to try to redeem himself. And then there's Colin Sexton. He's another one. He's a wild country boy to me. And he comes into ball all the time. And so one time when he was available as a free agent, I wanted the Knicks to get him. And somebody said, why? I said, when Colin, sometimes you take, there's some players, you don't even know they're on the floor when they're out there because they're not doing nothing. Then there's some players that when they step on the floor, you know they're on the floor because they're involved with everything, right? That's Colin Sexton. When he's on the floor, you know he's there, okay? Because he's going to score, he's going to make a steal, he's going to be out there buck wilding. So he's playing. This new kid, Sion James, strong boy. He's a older dude for the rookie, but strong, body strong, defensive solid. Another good player. Then there's Musa Diabate, who I like also. He's a Dennis Rodman type player, like not offensive, but defense and rebounding from his position. Can guard all 5 positions. Another guy. So this is not no easy game. They're going to come to show out. The Knicks better come to defend home floor and ball today. They got to. We're going to need Deuce for another 35 minutes, 36 minutes today. Brunson has got to not get sucked in to make this a personal game. He's got to let his teammates do their thing as well. Everybody got to eat. The ball's got to move. If the ball moves, and let me look, I didn't look at it yet, but I'm going to look at it right now. I want to see the stats for the assists. Let me take a look at the assist stats. So the Knicks last night had 29 assists. So I got to say that's good. That's very good. The ball's got to move. And Brunson did have 11, but to me, he shot way more than he should have last night. He shouldn't have had 21 shots. I would have said 16 and distribute them other 5 or 6 to other players. And Boston only had 18. This game was lost in the paint. Boston had 56 points in the paint. The Knicks had 42. There's your ball game right there. That game was lost in the paint, okay? And somebody's like, paint is not that important in 3. Please stop looking at NBA 2K. Look at the game. Points in the paint are all important. Very important, okay? So, yes, they lost that game in the paint. They had 12 turnovers. Wasn't bad, but it was the timing of the turnovers. Brunson had some turnovers when we're trying to make a run and we're coming back, and all of a sudden he has a bad turnover. Josh, too. I was like, daggone, man. Come on, y'all. And it's frustrating to watch, like I said. It's frustrating to watch. But, yeah, this is our team, so we got to do what we got to do, right? We got to hang in with our squad. Josh had only 2 turnovers and Brunson had 3, but they were late game trying to make a run turnovers, and they're worse than early game jitter turnovers, So anyway, here we go tonight. Charlotte is in town. They're trying to show out on Madison Square Garden floor under the lights, 7th Avenue. We got to come meet that and exceed it. I'm expecting a comeback game from Jordan Clarkson here. Really, he's been sucking a little bit. I'm expecting a comeback game from Tyler Kolek. Mitchell Robinson was minus 14 because he did not dominate the game on the glass. He had 5 rebounds, and I think most of them were, you'll see here. He had 4 of those 5 on the offensive side of the ball. He wasn't as dominant, but you can't expect that every night, right? He wasn't as dominant last night, so he's minus 14. No great game from him. But Yabu, he's been playing better lately. He wasn't last night. I'm expecting all them cats to come out ready to ball tonight. Expecting Brunson to get back under control. Let everybody eat. It would be nice if we can get Deuce at least 10 to 12 shots. He got 6 last night. Mikal has 17. Let's hope Mikal continues his tear. And then Josh was knocking down 3s. Cat shot 19 times. He was plus 10, but he took himself and the Knicks out the game arguing with the refs. And I am 100% sure that Mike Brown said something to him about that. Because Mike Brown even mentioned it in the post game. You know, he had to talk. He said, part of the reason we got behind, we started arguing with the refs. He's talking about Cat. And Cat is only able to be stopped by Cat. Okay? If Cat is focused on playing the game and not saying anything to the refs, nobody could do nothing with him. Okay, so you got a player that's an unstoppable offensive force that if you can get in his head, you could take him out the game. He's got to learn that. Hopefully tonight he does. I'm expecting a big game from Karl-Anthony Towns tonight. Big game. Okay, I'm expecting a 30-plus piece tonight from Karl-Anthony Towns. 30, 20, 30 and double digit, 12, 14 rebound, 30 points. I'm expecting that tonight. I'm expecting him to be physically dominant against the Hornets. If they go through him, it's going to be a good night. Okay? So let's hope. Let's see. Let's follow up. Y'all enjoy the game tonight. So.